November is National Adoption Month, and this year our theme is United in Love, celebrating and supporting those who have been touched by adoption. These are birth parents, adoptive families, and adoptees. Members of each of these groups are likely part of your network of family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, and church members. You can show your support in simple ways and let them know they're not alone. Start a support group for adoptees or birth parents. Provide a meal or offer to babysit for an adoptive family. Advocate by connecting others to Bethany. Bethany's post-adoption support services are available to anyone, whether someone is in need of short-term coaching, experiencing challenges with attachment, or searching for a birth parent. Bethany's post-adoption support is there to help. We are here to surround you in love and support. This November, we invite you to join us and unite in love and support all who have been touched by adoption.
Kelly Richards has been a pregnancy counselor for more than 12 years with the Bethany Christian Services, a global nonprofit organization that saves countless lives through the power of adoption. Welcome to the Harvest Show, Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was just telling you just before the show that I have my own adoption story where, you know, I felt like God used me to help bring a family together. Awesome. And that's what Bethany does. It brings families together and keeps them together. So as your role as a pregnancy counselor, what are you responsible for doing?
So I have the opportunity of walking alongside women and men who are facing an unplanned pregnancy and who are considering placing their child for adoption. Mm-hmm.
And some of those people probably would consider abortion and probably do, but they come to Bethany and you are able to share with them how other families can come in and be a part.
Right, so once I think they understand what it means, what adoption really is, that they can have a role, that they can choose the family, that they can, you know, meet the family and have a role in the child's life, that changes things for them so they can know how the child is doing.
And Kelly, November is National Adoption Month, so it's great to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about some of the reasons why there needs to be a month where adoption is highlighted and some of the ways that Bethany is helping to commemorate the month.
So we are a global organization. We serve not just in the U.S., but in other countries as well. There probably should be more than just a month. It should be all year, right? But there is a need for us to be aware of children out there who need a family. In the United States foster care system, there are 500,000 children waiting.
Wow. Waiting for permanent families or permanent homes.
Right.
Wow.
If 1 in every 3 churches had a family adopt out of the foster care system, there would not be a need.
Wow.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like that much, really.
It doesn't. Yeah. Worldwide, there are 1.1 million orphans. So.
One of the things you just mentioned to me that was kind of like a aha, just didn't show it on my face, and that is that adoptive families, the two families can come together and be a part of the process. I mean, back in the day, you didn't have, you know, you spent the rest of your adult life searching for your birth parents. So how is that process? How do you even do that? I mean,
so it's hard to picture unless you've seen it. And if you saw from my eyes what I get to see, I think, you know, it's really amazing. So when I meet with expectant parents and they're considering adoption, I think for them, they need to see what it would look like for their child to be in a family. So they choose the family, they get to meet the family and get to know them a little bit so that they can picture it for themselves and feel comfortable. I mean, what a trust thing to say, you're gonna raise my child. They need to be comfortable with that.
And when it comes to the kinds of services that Bethany provides and assists families with, what are some of the major, I guess, expectations or concerns when there is a parent who's willing to put up a child for adoption?
the concerns for the family?
Yes.
I think really when it boils down to is it's a relationship that develops. So the risk for the family before a placement is this placement going to happen, right?
Right.
And
Right.
many times it does, sometimes
yeah.
it doesn't, right? So I don't consider that someone changing their mind. You can't make a decision for adoption until you've had the baby, and then papers can be signed, right? So for the family, you know, that waiting period, is this going to happen or not? But then after a placement happens, you know, the roles kind of, the trust factor, I guess, shifts a little bit.
Flips a little bit.
It does, it does. So for the birth mom then, and the birth dad, is the family going to, you know, live up to the promises that they expressed? Are they going to continue with contact? Are they going to allow for visits?
And I was going to say, if I could just follow up real quick, I would imagine then that Bethany's involved after the birth and after the adoption takes place, and still has contact then with, not an intermediary, but still as a contact point for both families.
Absolutely. So from my end, working with birth parents, you know, that is huge to me, to be able to follow up with the moms that I get to work with. I was actually planning to meet with a mom right after this that placed 2 years ago. And so just to help her to continue to work through some of her feelings, and she doesn't need help navigating the relationship. They're doing fine.
Talk about those families. Talk about, I feel like these families are unsung heroes, you know, who go through, I mean, we're looking at some of them now, and I can see that this is a family, you know, they're from different races, different backgrounds, international children, or do you even handle international adoption?
We do. And the political climate changes for international, so that changes. China has been a placing country for a long time, and there are children with some minor special needs that need homes, and that process can actually go fairly quickly and fairly predictable. As far as other countries, I think the face of adoption is changing somewhat internationally. The children are a little bit older, or sibling groups definitely experience some trauma.
Would you talk about maybe 2 stereotypes about adoption that you want to demystify or debunk?
Oh, that's a good question. I think sometimes, well, families don't like to hear, you know, they're the heroes, they rescued a child, or that a child is a project. No child wants to be considered a project, right? And so for families, you know, they have the opportunity to raise a child and to be blessed in their family, to grow their family. So I don't think adoptive families want to be considered heroes. And so that's something that I hear.
Oh, I just said it.
So, I mean, and in a way they are, of course, and so are birth moms. But they're real people who, you know, face difficulties in their life, and they're much more like all of us than I think we want to give credit to. So they struggle too, right?
Right.
Both sides.
Let me ask you your opinion, as well as maybe Bethany's position. You talk about foster care and then adoption, like permanent adoption.
Sure.
Is there, I mean, do families kind of, not try out, but kind of serve in a foster care way first and then go on to adopt a child?
So there's different programs. We have our domestic infant program, and that is typically families facing infertility, young couples. And then there's foster care, foster to adopt. So families can choose to enter the foster care system. And then international adoption is, you know, straight adoption. We also do work in other countries to preserve families. So the first option, I would say internationally, would be to try to keep the family together that the child is in. If that's not possible, we do some work to help with foster care or domestic adoption within another country. And then I would say the third choice for international is for the child to be adopted outside of the country.
So,
Wow, Kelly, thanks so much for coming on and talking with us about National Adoption Month. To connect with Kelly, go to bethany.org or go to harvest-tv.com. Coming up later, your prayer request, but up next, Brian Bush with the latest news from Israel. We'll be right back.